What you say to a real estate agent could end up costing you thousands of dollars, or worse, the house that you're trying to buy. Over the last 5 or 6 years of working in Ottawa, I've watched buyers sabotage their own deals with one wrong sentence without even realizing what they were doing. In this video, I'm going to show you 6 things you should never say to a real estate agent, sometimes even your own agent. I'm going to show you how that can get used against you in the wrong hands and what you should say instead. That way you don't get played. Now, before we jump in, I think it's really important to say that I'm not making this video to dunk on other real estate agents. There are so many awesome agents in Ottawa who genuinely care about their clients. That's the vast majority of us. But you wouldn't believe some of the things I've heard agents say about their own clients that completely compromise their negotiating position. And because buying a home is the biggest financial decision that most people will ever make, I don't want to see that happen to you. This video is made with you, the buyer, in mind, not for other realtors, so you don't unintentionally give away your leverage without realizing it. Point number 1 is don't reveal your financial ceiling right away. If you play poker, you'll probably understand this one almost immediately. Let's say you're pre-approved for $650,000, but you tell your agent that you actually only want to spend up to $550,000, which is a pretty good range in Ottawa. If you're looking for an older 3-bedroom townhouse type thing, in the suburbs, you can find something nice. But now your agent can see exactly what you can stretch to if you needed to. Now, if this is somebody you know and trust, that's no problem. But if it's someone you're just starting to work with and they're the wrong kind of agent, what happens next can be subtle. The homes they show you start gradually creeping up in value. All of a sudden, they're sending you places for $560,000, $575,000, $600,000. Let's just take a look at this place. It's a little bit bigger, but it's such a great investment. Suddenly your budget has quietly shifted $50,000 or $60,000 if you're not careful. Now, most agents don't think this way, but some do, and it's something you need to watch for. The other way this piece of info can come around to bite you if you're not careful is when your agent submits an offer. Some agents will include, and this is a good strategy sometimes if you're competing, a pre-approval letter showing that you're pre-approved for the correct amount. Now, if you're not careful, I have seen agents send pre-approval letters showing that people are qualified well above the number that their offer says on paper. On one hand, this is good because it shows the other side that you're qualified to make this purchase, that financing isn't going to be an issue. But what it also tells them is there's lots of room left for them to negotiate. And in some cases, this will make it so that they're less flexible on the price, they're willing to provide you fewer concessions, and you end up with a worse deal than if they had thought you were stretched to close to your limit. So what I recommend you do instead in this case is ask your mortgage broker for a pre-approval letter matched to exactly the price that you're going to offer. If you're making an offer for $495, get your mortgage broker to give you a piece of paper that says you're pre-approved for $495 if you're using this strategy of sending the pre-approval letter ahead. In many cases, you can even get the mortgage broker to make you a few of these in advance for different offer prices, so you have those on hand if you need them. Point number 2 is about being careful about broadcasting your timeline. Now, this one's extra important in Ottawa because we're a government town. We have a lot of military postings, federal relocations, public service transfers. People land here from across the country all the time, and sometimes they need a home on a short timeline. Add in leases ending, job starts, school deadlines, and there's no shortage of buyers who are looking on the clock. Now, here's where you can run into problems. If your agent knows that you're absolutely under the gun and have to close by a certain date, and that information somehow reaches the listing agent if they're not careful, your leverage just evaporates. The seller knows that you can't walk away if you're bumping up against that deadline. Much like when they know about the pre-approval amount, they'll hold firm on their price. They won't negotiate on the conditions because they know that you're kind of boxed in and you need to get this deal done. Now, I've actually seen this happen from the seller's perspective. We had a buyer offer on the property and we found out throughout the course of the conversation and negotiation that they were on a tight timeline. And we ended up going back with a counter offer that we otherwise might not have made, like we might have accepted the initial offer because we knew that they needed to get this deal done. So this is how it can count against you if you're not careful. And again, if you're working with the wrong sort of agent, which most agents in Ottawa are not, they might even kind of nudge you with it. Like, you need a place by September. Let's just accept this counter offer and get going. That's not strategy. That's just kind of putting extra pressure on you. So what you want to say instead, if you don't have a good relationship with your agent, is our preference is to close by a certain time frame, but we're flexible. We're more focused on finding the right home at the right price. This signals good intent without handing over the deadline right away. The third point is don't show your hand while you're in the house itself. Now, this one catches people off guard a little bit, and it happens when your agent isn't even there to protect you sometimes. Open houses, being in model homes for the builder, Sunday afternoon drive-bys or knocks on the door that turn into walkthroughs of the house. From the moment you pull up to the property, there's Ring doorbells, Nest cameras, baby monitors, security systems. You have to assume everything you say and do is being recorded. Inside the house is exactly the same thing. There's nanny cams, young families with cameras to monitor their kids. Those cameras don't turn off for showings. They're supposed to, but a lot of the times they don't. So you walk in, you're in love with the layout, and you start gushing about the kitchen. Maybe you discuss the pricing strategy with your partner or with your agent if they are there, if it's a regular showing. Maybe you mention to the open house agent that you're qualified for way more than the asking price, and you need to move fast because your lease is coming due quickly. All this makes its way back to the seller, and when it's time to negotiate, that information is not going to be forgotten, and it's going to be used against you. As a general rule, keep your thoughts to yourself until you get back to the car. Keep a poker face inside the house the entire time. Tell your agent everything after you've left the property. That's the time and place for honest reactions. There's nothing wrong with chatting about what you like and don't like about the place, but when it comes to pricing and negotiating strategy, you're gonna want to do that outside. And if you're at an open house without your agent, remember, the agent sitting in that open house might be really friendly, but their job is to represent the seller first and foremost. Be polite, be interested, but don't share anything about your timeline, your motivation, or what you're willing to pay. Nothing whatsoever. Section number 4 is don't tell your agent that you're just looking or just browsing. If you're serious about buying, never tell your agent that you're just casually looking around and that you'll buy the perfect place if and when it comes along. What happens is you will go from the top of their priority list to the very bottom where they're looking after the more serious buyers. And if you're actually serious, this counts against you. You won't get the proactive services, the early heads up on a new listing, the call to a listing agent to get intel on the seller's situation. The hustle that actually wins deals in a competitive market is generally reserved for the clients who agents know are looking actively. Now, the way to get around this one is you can tell them what your actual motivation level is. Say something along the lines of, I'm active and ready to move for the right home, and then provide information about what that right home is. But if you're just vaguely like, I'm browsing and I'll know it when I see it, that's something that's probably going to get you slower response times with most agents. If you're precise about what you're looking for, that'll keep you on the top of the list. Point number 5 is don't blindly trust your agent if it's somebody that you've just met. This is the biggest one on the list, and it sounds like this. You're the expert. I'd trust you completely. Just do what you think is best. Now, I appreciate the confidence, and if it's somebody that I know really well, like this is how it works a lot of the time. But you should never blindly trust anyone with the biggest financial decision of your life, including your agent if it's somebody that you've just met. When a buyer tells me to just put in whatever I think is right, here's what I actually do. I walk them through the contract, the terms, the strategy, the potential counteroffers, and the comparable properties, and what the scenarios could look like, because this is a partnership. It's not a handoff. Now, the wrong person could take advantage of this blind trust. If an agent knows that you'll go along with basically whatever they'll recommend and there's not going to be any pushback, no verification, what incentive do they have to fight for every last dollar? You want to trust your agent, but you want to verify what they're saying or make sure that they're supporting it with evidence. Be an active participant in your own transaction, not just a passive passenger. Now, the main thing I want you to take away from this is to be strategic with information. It's not about distrusting your agent or playing games. It's about being a better partner in your own transaction. Share your must-haves, share your deal breakers, tell your agent you want walkability or if you need 3 bedrooms, or if you don't want to live near the highway. All of that makes them better at their job. But the very tippy top of your financial ceiling or your timeline pressure, your desperation level, unless you know this person really, really well, be careful about sharing that up front. Not because you're hiding it, but because in any negotiation, less is often more. I hope you found this helpful. If so, please consider liking and subscribing to tell the YouTube algorithm to send this to more people just like yourself. Thanks so much for watching and have a wonderful rest of your day.